So what's up everybody and welcome to Sunday Night Quantum Session. Today is July 19th. Been a busy weekend. We are actually keeping an eye. If you guys have not heard, there's a wildfire kind of close, 50 miles from us right now. And I know those things can jump pretty damn fast. So we're keeping an eye on that. Some enlightenment, Phoebe? Yeah, so very volatile tonight. Let's see what the ATR actually is, because I know it was high earlier. Oh yeah, it's at 17. That's high ATR for Asia. That's very high for Asia. I saw these moves earlier. All right, I was watching these, and I was like, wow. For this one from 769 all the way to 713. Next push up. This was an A++ right here. This one wasn't. This one, yes, right? 744, almost 100 points, like 70 points right there. This is also not an A++, but we had a couple level accompaniments, right? You could have waited for the break and the retest over here. So we have been creating levels and respected. Look at these level bounces over here. Look, 786, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 taps around that 80 area. So that 80 area looks like it has some strength, and now we got that 5-minute level getting respected as well. For the time being, looks like we're breaking more blues than purples as well. So it is definitely in an uptrend, but we'll get the ball show going in a little bit. I know we got a lot of new ladies and gentlemen here, so I'm going to be breaking things down as if we were starting brand spanking new. So we're going to have a little bit of information. Oh, what's up everybody? 866 is the top of the hourly purple as well. Yeah, so 866, that's where we keep rejecting. You also have that 1 minute level up here. All right, so we got a nice, from 3 o'clock on Friday, nice sell here. So this 880 area, definitely going to, 866 and 880 area, definitely going to be a place to watch, Cap, for sure. I'm new, clearly I'll figure out how to add by tomorrow. Yeah, so the easiest way to add MLT tag, right? We're not going to be like full blown, oh, you got to add the MLT. We got a lot of new people, a lot of new ladies and gents in here. The easiest way to do it is to click on anybody's MLT tag. You see the MLT on anybody, just click it. You could adopt it, right? I'm not gonna be you know, on top of everybody for that. There's a wife coming attacking you, Naval. So let's see, right? This is okay. So I'm gonna actually let's start with the levels, because today it seems like the levels are getting respected. All right. So we got about 81 people. Still a few people coming in. So quantum, right? Quantum shift for everybody that's new. Okay. It is a strategy. Okay, I don't want people to get locked in just the buys and the sells, right? The buys and the sells happen for a reason. But we're going to kind of break down where good ones and bad ones may be, right? This still requires you to read the chart, still requires you to understand trend and basic market structure, right? Lower lows, lower highs on a downtrend, okay? And then you're going to have higher lows and higher highs on an uptrend, okay? So I do not like to play against a trend. So that's where the 5-minute comes in, right? The 5-minute gives me what we call the trend cloud. So if you look at your 5-minute chart, right, you got two areas of coloring. You have a bright and a dark. Okay, the bright coloring tends to be the 5-minute trend. Okay, that's the 5-minute trend. The dark is a blend of the 10 and 15. So when you look at where it breaks, right, you can potentially challenge anything inside that cloud in here. And what I'm looking at my chart, right, that's when I'm looking at the 5-minute chart, I then go and look at my 1 minute and my 2 minute, and I try to decipher where there are going to be potential touch points, levels, or quantum candles where it might hesitate if it's truly trying to flip to a downtrend. This one, right, you can play the cloud. It's just very risky because it is a 5-minute play. Right, so this level here, you can draw a white line on it. Right, this is a 5-minute 3-bar as well. If anybody's familiar with 3 bars, you see where that line is. There's your breaking candle. There's your retest, right, and your stop loss will be a break of the breaking candle. If you're playing the typical break and retest, right, this is what this would look like. Very risky, probably. Let's take a look. Right, 27 points. You know what? That's not horrible for what we've seen tonight. That's actually not horrible. Right, and I go for 1 RR. That's my basic starting point. Right, once I get my 1-to-1, right? If I go in with two micros, because this is pretty risky, I might go in with 2. If I have an eval that has room, I might play with 3, right? My stop loss is there. As soon as I hit first TP, then I start letting my 2 or 1 runner run. Depending if I take out 2, I might let 1 runner run. And usually I like to leave it at back entry. I like to see if it's going to continue to go. And then you can either do one of 2 things, right? You can play market structure trailing, or you could do a little bit of, what Max likes to do is candle to candle kind of things like that. A little bit of free chicken there for you guys. So there's variations of how you could play the trailing, right? I go into greater detail on that with my students and things like that. But this is like the part of quantum, right? You can make it your own, right? The setups are the same. You pick which setups work best for you, which ones make the most sense for you, right? Through the A++ setups with added confluence make the most sense to you. The quantum candle breaks, the quantum ranges, the trends, you can play the trends absolutely as well. But this is just what the trend cloud kind of gives you on the 5 minute. You have your trend cloud break, your break and retest, which is basically the cusp of the majority of my entries. If you guys listen to me during Power Hour, the majority of my entries is break and retest. And if you listen to when I was talking, those of you that were in Wealth Charts, right? The quantum candle breaks are also break and retest. If it doesn't retest that zone, because my risk is the breaking candle, I will not enter a play. It does not present a good R2R or good risk, right? Because the risk on this thing was 46 points if I tried to enter early, right? All the way up there at 44 points. I want to enter around here, which is still pretty risky at 35 points, but I'm looking for the break and retest, lower my risk, and then potential continuation. If I don't get that retest, I'm not entering the trade. Right? That's my specific criteria. Right? Let's look at this. Let's look at this example here. Okay, this example down here. Right, this example down here. Right, and this is a 5 minute play. Again, 5 minute plays tend to take a little bit of time, but they do present the same entry criteria. Right, break and retest. Right, that next candle looked like it retested. Right, 15-point risk, and it dropped down for 32 points. 2 times, once here and then once here. Big ass wick here out of nowhere. Rejected the first level of downtrend. We also had a trend flip here, and then pushed back down before it came back up to retest again. And then you had another continuation, right? And if you understand market structure, you can also see where your lower high is right here. Basic stuff. Right now, okay, what are we resisting at? You have a purple candle there. Oh, look where that rejection point is, right? We're trapped between, in my eyes, this purple candle and that 5 minute level. We're just chopping around back and forth. Okay. So this is the basics, right? This is the basic stuff, market structure, understanding the basics, trend, and what you're looking at on the 5 minute chart. This is why I use the 5 minute as my main trend point. It follows the trend much better than a 1 or the 2 minute, which trends tend to be short lived, tend to be very choppy. I used to get stopped out a lot playing the 1 and 2 minute trend flips, and I like to look at the 5 because the 5 and maximum 15, that's why we have these 2 levels, give me the best reads of trend, right? Which trend side is the strongest? I see Cloud and Naval going at it. Okay. If for you guys look at this different time frames. So this is the 5 minute chart. Yes, this is the 5 minute chart. The 5 minute chart is the only chart that has the cloud. It's the only chart that has the cloud, right? Your 1 and the 2 do not have the cloud. Why? Okay, because I can read the strength in trend based on the quantum candles on the 1 and the 2. Right? If you're seeing more blue candles break than purples, then it's a strong downtrend. If you see more purples break than blues, it's a strong uptrend. The blues get respected, trend is up. The purples get respected, the trend is down. If you're stuck between a blue and a purple, that's your chop area. That's where it can get choppy, back and forth, back and forth. Okay? Right now, we just broke this big ass blue for Asia. Big sell signal on the 5. Let's see if this tries to retest this 23 or hold above it, below it, and of course, the zoom in. The frickin' zoom in. I have to do the little L, right? And this is why I like to do things live, because we can see there's the retest. All right, this is a very big candle, so I'm gonna be watching this. Asia just opened, big time volume, huge candle. So I want to see what it does. We still need to break this 823. All right, but that's a big pull up for a retest, because the retest zone is everything attached to this candle. Right, this is the 1 minute break, 2 minute break, 5 minute hasn't broken the damn thing yet. Right, 5 minute just bounced off that level again. 2 minute stack level, we're still kind of trapped. Asia's going to decide which direction we're going to go, if we're going to still continue the uptrend, or if Asia's going to try to flip to a downtrend. All right, I want to see what it does at 8:51. If it starts to blow through all this, then Asia might decide we're going to continue this uptrend. All right. All right, so here is, again, right, how to avoid bad signals, right, following the trend. We're trending up. You're up against a 5 minute, right? You're up against a 5 minute level, okay? So this, right, entry would have been a candle closure 834. If you wanted to quickly, I mean, it gave you 30 points. We were going to quickly scalp it. But I'm usually playing 1-to-1. So again, if I'm looking at 1-to-1, if I'm looking at entry here, right, my stop loss is all the way up there, 40 points. I'm looking for almost 40 points as well. But what's going to be in the way of this, right? What's going to be in the way of me potentially getting these 40 points? A 5 minute level 823, right? And a 2 minute level at 809. Not a good play for me. I'd rather wait, watch, see if these levels break, give the chart a little bit of space, and see if another entry point presents itself, right? We're still obviously in an uptrend. This is how you avoid bad signals, right? Bounce cleanly off. Now we want to see if it's going to continue to break all these levels. We break that purple up here. That's a big time failed bearish move, and we're going to continue this uptrend. All right. You two in the chat. The cloud, my wife and Naval going at it in the chat. It's funny. All right. All right, let's watch. All right, let's see what happens here. All right, so this is, again, right, we're still reading the market. We're still watching what we're trapped inside of. We can obviously see we had a bunch of levels below. We cleanly bounced off this 5. Look at where the green, right? Look at where it bounced off on the 5 minute, right? Right here. Or look at that trend cloud. 805, 800 psychological level. We bounced right 1 point from that little line right there, where it switches to dark. Super close. Strong indication that the uptrend wants to hold. Let's see if this purple breaks here, and we go for this golden MVG. And again, golden MVGs, I'm going to kind of blend this as a golden MVG and quantum lesson a little bit as well, because I do use the two indicators I use the most, quantum and golden MVGs. The MVG is max value gap, and these give you potential strong reversal or support zones or resistance zones. Look at this thing go, holy shit. I actually took a little nibble of that. 4 micros up to 100 is insane for Asia. That's insane for Asia. Okay, we might go for that golden MVG. This might be where we see a little bit of reaction. It's very close to 900. Let's see, I haven't marked any of my quantum candles, okay, because I was going to do this with you guys. That's racing up there, right? How I use quantum candles as levels. I wanted to do this, and I just kind of want to watch what it does up here at 900. Let's see if we have any quantum candles over here. Nope, we just have that MVG. We got one all the way up here. And I marked the wicks, so I'm kind of going to show you guys I marked the wicks. I'm going to mark this one up here as well. Okay. And these are potential resistance points. All right, we're currently, let me see if this one already broke or not, because we have this one here. We're way above it. We also have this one. All right. And then we have these. So we just broke all of these. Okay, filled that MVG. There's a rejection wick on that MVG. And now we might get trapped in here. We'll see what it wants to retest, whether it wants to retest 880 or 870. We also have a level at 853. The ATR is probably still up there right now. 21, wow. For Asia, that's really up there for Asia. All right. So now I marked the blues too. Not only the pinks, right? I marked the blues too. I just kind of want to mark, right? I'm marking the blues as well. All right. Just kind of want to watch what it does here. If this 3 bars up, all right, I mark all the blues that have not been broken. And what I mean by not been broken, meaning no candle closures below a quantum blue or above a quantum purple. Yeah, this is gonna 3Z up here. It's gonna push it. Obviously did not go all the way down to retest. Another continuation. Obviously a lot of failed bearish moves here. Same thing on the 2. Do we have any other to look out for on the 2? Nope, not until all the way up here. All the way up here. Whoops. And again, right, changing that color to purple. And any other ones that have not been broken, I will also mark up. I will mark them up. All right, these are my resistance areas. These are my areas I'm going to keep an eye for for there to be a pause. And if it breaks through these areas, we'll have continuation. You can kind of see where all these kind of pauses were after these purples got created. You see wick, wick, wick. Right, you see the purples get respected. You see the blues breaking. That's a strong indication of a downtrend. Right, purple got respected over here. Here, new one. Boom, blue break, blue break. You see the strength trend. Right, pushed all the way up. Couldn't break this guy. Created a new one. Keep breaking the blues. Strong downtrend. Right now, looks like we're on an uptrend, breaking all the purples. Yep, there she goes. I got one micro running for $113 right now. All right, how does the blue and purple become a level? So the blues and purples are there. There's 4 things, actually a little more than 4 things, that need to happen for these candles to turn. Okay, it's kind of sauce, right? But the basic explanation of what occurs to them, there's a little bit of momentum, a tiny bit of volume, and then there's 2 other factors. I kind of keep those as the secret menu ingredient items. But there's 2 other factors that have to occur. A lot of people think it's volume. It's not volume. You can look at the volume tabs and you can compare. You're going to see fluctuations in them. But there's 2 other factors that need to occur for them to turn and stay that color. The thing with what you can see in wealth charts, you can actually see them turn a little sooner in wealth charts. TradingView has a slight like millisecond delay or something. So you actually see them turn sooner on wealth charts and lock in before they do on TradingView. But there is a certain chain of events that have to occur, which is why I only look at those candles, right? If I'm playing quantum candles, I'm only looking at quantum candles. And then the regular candles that I care about are the ones that break the quantum candles. I do not care about any other regular candles, right? If quantum candle gets broken, then this candle becomes the star of the show, right? This one right here, right? Because this one right here broke that one, all right? Same on the 1 minute, right? On the 1 minute, the one that becomes the star of the show is this big boy right there, right? Because this one broke a couple quantum candles. And everything else in between is just potential continuation, noise, right? We got another potential 3-bar here on the 1, right? That's what I'm looking at. Same thing on the 5. If you look at your 5, right, you can see the 5 began the flip over here. Right? You have 2 purple candles on your 5 minute. There's your break, right? Pushed up, there's your retest. 5 minute level created, held, another push up. Asia opened, came all the way down, tested the trend, held that level, pushed all the way up. Now we're racing up. We are racing up. We have quite a bit of room, right? On the 1 minute, we have room to 968. Does it mean it's going to get there? No, it does not mean that we're going to get there, right? These are potential resistance points. So if I took a trade, let's say I took this 3-bar with these confluences, even though it was risky, as we get close to areas, depends on how many runners I'm holding on to, I will start to trail closer on 1 and leave 1 a little bit open, right? To continue to see if we get all the way up there. And then I'll see if it breaks. If it breaks, I just continue the plays. I don't scale in, okay? I'm not a kind of person that scales in. If you are, and you're confident with that, and you understand where your stop losses are, knock yourself out, right? This is about you using what we have with quantum, the strategy that I have with it, and you can kind of make it your own, right? You don't have to trade exactly like me. You can blend it and you can create different ways to trail, right? I don't scale in. I'm very, very particular with my thing, but it doesn't mean that you guys can't mess around with it and see what entries and what stop losses and what trailing system works for you. There are different time frames where the play is set up differently, and you can blend this with however you want, right? You could also use this with any strategy as an added confluence. This adds so much guidance in terms of stop loss, in terms of which candle you want to focus on, right? Instead of looking at everything and all the noise, you can focus on a couple candles and you get these confluences, the action lines. Right? I'm gonna break down the action lines next, right? Because the action lines create the levels. So when they start to curl, right, and you have an area of interest or an area that you're looking for reaction, you can use that curling as extra guidance. Okay, we're starting to kind of slow down. The action lines are curling. And what happens when the action lines curl? They're potentially trying to form a level. And what occurs when there's an A++ setup, right? You have a curl across and a pull down. So when you're playing quantum, if you have good confluences, I'm not always entering waiting for that signal, right? If let's say I had a liquidity zone, or just hypothetical, right? I had a liquidity zone somewhere up here, right? I see the pause, I see the reaction, I see my action lines start to curl. I'm going to start getting in an entry here, and I'm going to have my stop loss, right above the curl, because I would be like, okay, if this breaks above the curl, I know that this move isn't ready, so I'll get out of it, right? Could be 10 points, could be the topic, whatever you want to use, right? Could be the swing once this closes below, and you're saying, okay, this is kind of trying to curl down. If I'm going to have my stop loss, it's going to be tight, right? You can start entries out here. I do this with my sauce box. I look for curling reaction around the sauce box, and if I see it, I'm going to begin an entry, watching my action lines, and looking for it to pull down, create a level, and potentially have an A++ setup come up with it, right? I call them the big purple or the big blue boys that come in, and then I'm already writing this down. I don't have to worry about any additional entry because I'm just taking this down, and then if it comes back up and takes it out, I have a potential play if it breaks the blue for an uptrend. If it doesn't present an entry, it doesn't present an entry. But that's what confluences help you with, right? I do use these for orb. I use it with Llama's fibs. I've tested it with several other strategies that people have thrown my way that it works very, very well with, and it's cool to see it over and over and over again, the strength this adds when you're looking for visual cues other than regular candles. Because those quantum candles, again, they're not regular candles. There's a criteria that needs to occur for them to turn. My runner is up $170, guys. That's crazy. I'm trailing it. Let me see what the trail is. The trail is at 127.5 right now, so it's trailing about 25 points. So I'm giving it a lot of room. I'm gonna bring it in a little closer. All right, I'm gonna post it here so you guys can see it. One micro tested that push up with these levels creating, right? 866. My stop would have been, and again, right? This is level play, right? You had your levels creating. I was only gonna play the push up here. I was only going to play the push to the top of the purple, but this thing exploded. And this is, again, right, you don't have to play it this way. This is not something I really teach people how to play or do it, but I test these. My stop loss would be if they break the level. I entered around 866, right around here, and I would have gotten out under there. Right, it was what, about 15 points risk. Just looking at what occurred on the 2, the 5, the bounce on these levels, and I clicked. I didn't expect it to keep going, but it did, and that's awesome, right? If it keeps going, it keeps going. If I only caught a little bit of a move, if I only caught the move here and it rejected out of purple, right? That's still what, 66? That wouldn't have been good actually. Looking at it now, I didn't see how close it was, so you know what? That wasn't a smart play. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, that would have been only 8 points. That would have fucking sucked. That would have sucked balls, but whatever. You know what? I would accept the deal. I would have taken the L and moved on, but you know, it played out. I didn't look at the risk. I was kind of busy chatting, but you know, it worked out great. What was your entry criteria for your full position again? For my full position, I only go into full position, which is 6 micros on a 50K, if the risk is 6 points or less. So it's very rare, very rare. But I do DCA, right? I call it strategic DCA. Let's say the risk is high, okay? Let's say the risk is high. Okay, let's say, for example's sake, man, this is bad examples because there's no clean break anywhere here. Let's see, right? Let's look at the 2 minute, right? I'm going to give this example of when I decide to DCA, because I do on early entries just to test if the tread flip might be strong, right? And this is an example, right? This is a very, I wouldn't really do this in a real trade here, right? If I saw the break here, right? I saw this break. I begin a little entry up here, maybe 1 or 2 micros, right? If it pulls down to the retest zone, I might add a couple, right? But now my entry is going to be obviously averaged in, so that my entry will get adjusted, right? And again, if it pulls down even further, I'll add to up to my max if it's worth it, if it's okay with me, right? If it's worth it, only if the risk, right, dropped to around 6-7 points. If it doesn't, I'm not entering. I'm not going to DCA into that. I'm going to let it take me out. Obviously, this is a very big example. I was, again, not a clear example of what I would really do, but again, I call it strategic DCAing up to my stop loss based on where my entry begins. So if this retested here, let's just go for example's sake that it did retest, right? Retest at 873. I begin an entry here. My stop loss would be down here, 24 point stop loss, right? Pulls down a little further. I would add a couple, make my entry would then adjust to about like 17, 16 points, depending on how far back it pulled. And if it pulled back even further, I might add one more, and if it takes me out, it takes me out. but that's it, right? I'm never gonna go past max cons, especially if the risk already starts high. I'm gonna be willing to take whatever L, and I'll only go in again with more than 15 points, 2 micros maybe, maximum 3, but over 20 points, 20 points risk, maximum will be 2 micros for me, because then I'm going for 24 points, right? If I'm gonna get this retest here and I'm going for 24, that's where I'm gonna take my first micro and let the last one ride and see if we get a good push or not, and that's it, right? It's gonna be a very risky trade. I might trail it a little closer because of that as well, but there's variations of that. Okay, so let me zoom this out and let's see. Oh, look how close it got. Oh, look at that, guys. See, look at this, right? 63, right? Again, this is why I don't use them as TPs, right? Look at that push. Look where it rejected. We're really close to that 1 minute, right? Clockwork, right? Curling down. Still be careful. Very strong uptrend. Obviously, we're due for a pullback soon. Doesn't mean it has to do it right now. Right, this is why I'm saying be very careful. On a downtrend, be very careful trying to short because it's going to be short-lived. There's a level creation. Let's see if this closes above that level and continues this uptrend. Now, this will be a level flip. Basic support or resistance, right? This will be a resistance area. If it closes above, it's going to turn to potential support. But let's see what it does here. It has to close above. Okay, to close or to eliminate a level, it has to be a candle closure, not wicks. Candle closures. Never anticipate breaks, right? The same rules apply for orb or any kind of, if you guys play FEGs or anything like that, you want a print through, right? You want it to close above that level to qualify as a print through or a break, not wicks. That's why when you hear me during power hour, I'm waiting for a candle closure on the 5 minute. If the 5 minute doesn't close below here, it's not ready. And I'll say that many, many times depending on the level. If it's a 5 minute candle, a 5 minute level, the 5 minute candle has to break it. If it's a 1 minute level, a 1 minute candle, the 1 minute has to break it. If it's a 2 minute level, a 2 minute candle, the 2 minute has to break it. So here's a little bit of a break. Not a good one for me. Closed kind of halfway. But again, right, resistance points, all that fun stuff. Let's see what it wants to do on the 2. The 2 minutes also curling down. I mean, it is due for a pullback. Just how far is the question. On a strong uptrend, it doesn't have to pull back very far. So unless it can't, and again, right, I use the action lines. Those of you familiar with EMA trading, I use the action lines the same kind of way, right? If they hold below, right, they can potentially continue to move. You see this bottom 1 to 2, it fails to close below. Right? Until it starts to close below, you won't start seeing this action line curl and then potentially create a 2 minute level. And then the 5 minutes the same way. 5 minute has to close below or pull down below this at 928, which is pretty damn far from where we're at. 30 points. Let's see what this 2 minute wants to do. I mean, it's still rejecting this area. Again, we're really close, right? 56, 63, 67. That's really close. It looks like it wants to just pause. Maybe we're going to range here. All right. I've been watching your videos and I get a little confused on entries. I understand your break and retest, but can you show examples? Yes. Okay. Let's see if we have anything good that presented, because it doesn't look like we got anything super solid here. Like, I'm not seeing breaks and retests. I'm seeing teleportation breaks, right? Like this blue over here. We turn the magnet on. That's a tip break. See, I don't play the tip game. You guys, if you guys want to be brave, fine. But I don't play the tip game. But this is what an entry. You see the break, right? This is a tip break. I don't like these. They tend to flip a lot. But your break of a blue, okay? This is the break and retest entry, okay? Of a blue, right? There's your break. There's your retest. Your stop loss is your guiding candle, okay? Your guiding candle is the candle that breaks the level or the quantum candle, okay? This candle broke that quantum candle. This is your guide, your stop loss, okay? So your stop loss is above that wick. Your entry is the retest zone, right? What's the retest zone? The retest zone is the area that where the blue candle was broken. So anywhere around 23, okay? And your guide candle is the breaking candle. That's the easiest setup to learn first. The breaks of the quantum candles. This is just a failed bullish or a failed bearish move.
Sorry.
Yes.
Did you hit record?
Yes.
Yay.
Okay. So this is the basic, right? You can see how it retest rejected, right? Your entry, You could have caught a nice little short for 11 points first, came back, retested again. Maybe your runner got trailed out. I'll sometimes re-enter if I'm feeling like, okay, this is a downtrend clearly, right? Or if we're resistant, I'll re-enter and then have the same stop loss. I'm a little bit, I use this as like, I play games, right? So this is my video game. And I'll play it a couple times until it decides to break through and stop me out. Now I'll take strike one. But there's a second retest, there's a third retest, there's even a fourth retest over here. And I'll scalp it until it breaks, if it presents a good continuation on other time frames. But here you have that play, gave you 11 points, pulled up, had another retest, then another retest, and obviously dumped down a little further. Okay, that's one entry criteria, right? This one, right, very big, very, very big, okay? Very risky. Why? Because look at how big that breaking candle is, right? This is a quantum purple. All right, let's get rid of that line for now. Quantum purple, there's your breaking candle. That's also your guide, right? You're looking for the retest zone. Obviously, the retest did not happen immediately, and it is 18 points of risk, okay? So you're looking for a 1-to-1. Anytime it pulls back in this area, your stop loss is the breaking candle, and it came down, retested, even went a little deeper. Right? If you didn't catch the entry there, you could have caught a better entry down here. Or maybe, how far did this pull back? This pulled back to 802. Not a whole big pullback, honestly. A 7-point pullback, not horrible, considering the risk. Pulled back 7 points, and then pushed itself up. You got your 1-to-1, and then a little spike up, right? The total of the runner, it depends where your runner got trailed, could have been 30 points. Unless you peaked it up at the top. Majority of us don't pick it up. Right? Your runner tends to fly and then get trailed on the rejections. So there's another. That's the entry criteria. I'm very picky with the risk, right? Would I enter this? If I was like on an eval I was already green with, maybe, right? But 18 points is pretty risky. It's pretty freaking risky, right? A++ entries, okay? The quantum signals, right? With strong confluences. What's the entry criteria for these? Very basic, right? But you want strong confluences for the quantum candle signals, right? When your action lines create the level inside the quantum candle. Now, I want you guys to see the difference between these two. Okay, look at this one and look at this one. This one's A++. This one is not. Can anybody tell me why? Anybody who's been in here for a while? Why is the second one that occurred at 8:32 or 6:32 not an A++, and why is this one that occurred at 6:15 an A++? Behind the middle of the candle. The image cross happened before. Yes, there you go. It crossed in the front. Yep. So the reason it's not an A++ is because it crossed in the front. So when it's an A++, you want it to cross within the center of the candle or slightly behind. That is a true A++ because the candle level creation is occurring with the candle almost at the same time. Versus this one, where the level is getting created in front of the quantum candle, meaning the move is already potentially happening. So in this instance, right, the cross occurred in front. You had your quantum blue, you had your cross in front. The push is already occurring as this level is locking in. That is not an A++. An entry would be super duper late. You're going to try to get an 820. Obviously, this pulled back 20 points and then pulled up. But still, that's a strong pullback. And your stop loss is the break of the quantum blue. Right? This is what an A++, right? You're not going to look at an entry all the way up here and your stop loss is all the way down here. That's not smart. Whoops, wrong direction. Right? That's not smart, right? You don't want to do that. That's the play's gone. Can you enter on the blue and play the line as it's crossing? Yes, you can, right? And your stop loss will be a little tighter. If you're playing the blue and you want these lines to hold to create the level, you can play the level holds. You can absolutely do this. Looks much better. But these are risky because the line crossing in front, if you have resistance, it might stall out and it might not continue. So again, you want room. Oh, look at this, right? This would have been a very tricky play because of that quantum purple right there. So if you hit buy here, you would have room from 791 to 809. That's about 20 points, almost 20 points, 19, 18 points. I'm looking for 10. That's about 10, but like it's risky if I'm playing the level. that's 10 points, right? I'm risking 10 points. My main TP is always going to be 10 points, right? A lot of people, if you look at my old content, the 5 and 10 points, the 5 points was something I was doing for fun, for stress relief and anxiety relief. It was never my main thing. My main thing was always 10 points. If you look back at my older content, when I talk about my story, I was very confident always getting 10 points. And I used to be, and what my origin of how I became profitable and consistent was literally going for 10 points, risking 10 points with 5 micros. And I would take all 5 micros out after 10 points. I would trail them immediately. And if it took me out of 10, it took me out of 10. Then as I got more accounts, I started to play with the trailing system where I would go in with 4 or 3 or 5, depending on the risk. And I would trail half, or I would take out half at TP, right? And again, I'm 1 for 1. So if the 1 for 1 is, if I'm risking 5 points, I'm still going for 10 points. Okay. But if I'm risking 10 and going for 10, I'm going to take out 2 or 3 at 10 and let 1 or 2 trail, and just see where it wants to go, if it wants to go. That's how I get these plays that keep going. But you can, again, right, you can vary it to your liking. The strategy gives a lot of openness to modification to your style, to what makes sense to you. But I'm showing you guys exactly how I do it, right? Again, 2 different stop loss points, either the blue down here or the level. Okay, level's obviously much better. You have room from the 1 point to test the candle. And just like that example I showed you earlier, you want to be cautious because the level can easily reject before it gets to it. So that's why I don't use them as targets, right? I would aim for about the 10 for 10 or the 1 for 1. And then if it pushes through with the runner, great, right? And then you would have a next potential play, and you could let your runner hold as long as this breaking candle holds, and for continuation potential. Okay? And then let's go back to the A++, right? The A++. The A++ cross occurred within the back half of the body. Okay, so here's the center. If you see the crosshair, that's the center of the candle. Look where it occurred. Slightly behind, that's an A++. That's what I want to see. Candle closure is your entry on this, right? Candle closure. And again, you want other confluences. You don't want to just blindly click on every single signal, right? This is a very risky setup, 31 points. So you're going to go for 1 for 1. That's what I would do. I will go for 1 for 1. All right, got my 1 for 1. Not barely any pullback, which is great, right? This was barely any pullback. Your entry would have been 45, pulled back 3 points, and then skyrocketed. That's great. I love that, right? That's what you want to tend to see when it's a really good A++ signal, and obviously you have room to the next level where in this instance, right, if you see this purple candle, now you should be able to tell what an A++ and a not A++ is, right? This is not an A++. The cross occurred in front of the quantum purple, so the move was already in progress, right? It was already in progress. So in this instance, right, you had to wick up before the candle closed, and this is why I don't like to play these. Because let's say I began an entry, right? I begin an entry at candle closure, and I use the level as my stop loss, right? Guess what? I just got strat 6'd. I just got stopped out, and I see the play happening, and guess what that could potentially lead to? Tilt, right? I'm going to avoid that. I see this a lot, which is why I don't necessarily play this way. Can you? Yes, but it's super risky. I don't play it that way. And this is a perfect example of that. Why this is not an A++. Does it make the play invalid? No, right? Can you give it a little wiggle room? Absolutely. That's up to you. I don't play these. I don't play these. I know some people that do, right? These are my bread and butter. Added confluences with this tend to lead to pretty strong moves. There's your big push. You had room to where this was here, right? Okay, I'm going to get into the level creation. So the levels are created when your action lines cross. Okay, that's very simple. Your levels are created by the action lines crossing, right? That's why those action lines are very near and dear to me, right? That cross right here that you see inside that purple, that's your level that would form, right? And I would look and I would like, yeah, I have room from 745 to 830, 780, 782. That's about 40 points of room, and I'm risking about, right, what was the risk? 30 points. There's room. Okay, I have some room. Take it with 1 micro or 2 micros, and let's ride or die, right? Boom, there's your TP, there's your push, right? And that's where you kind of stalled out. You tried a little tip break. This is why I don't play the tip game. Little tip break, came back, and then push back. Another blue that came up, and then you had your failed bearish move up there, okay? That is the A++, right? When you start seeing them, right? Cross occurred in front, right? You can see the stall out, but what occurred, right? The blue was still respected. Look at the line of blues here. Look at what happened, right? This is, again, another example of right here of why I don't like to play the tip game, right? Because this candle right here was broken by that purple candle by the tip. And guess what happened? It reversed. All right, it reversed up and it created a quantum range. Bunch of blues hanging out here. So this 750 area has a lot of buyers in there. And then you start seeing the purples form around, right? You're right, look at that, 61, and another one formed at 61. Had a little tip break, right? Little tip break, came back, bounced off the blue. Big blue push up, so this area is still showing a lot of strength. Breaking your purples. It's looking like the bulls are winning to me. So I'm liking the longs better, and every time we come down to 50, I might be pressing long because again, this is like the range. I like the range, I like the uptrend. I'm gonna play with the trend. I'm gonna keep testing it until it breaks. If it breaks, then I'm out, and then you get this little nice push. Right, these are my hints. My confluences would have been the purples breaking, the blues still getting respected. Each time you got a new blue, look, right, didn't break. Let me change that color. Look at this, right? Didn't break, didn't break, didn't break, didn't break, didn't break. Huge push up, right? Obviously this is 6 o'clock, so this is the open. This is the open, which is an insane candle at the open, right? And that's what I'm looking at. This is how I'm reading the strength of a zone, the strength of an area, and the strength of the trend, the potential trend, okay? Okay, let's go back some more, right? Look at this one, right? This one looks funky. This one looks funky. The cross still occurred behind, right? It's still pretty, this is, let me see the settings. I think I have it set incorrectly because this should be within one candle. This should technically only trigger where it's within one candle. It is obviously behind this candle, so it shouldn't have triggered, but the level was still created, or the level would have been created right here with that quantum candle lined up to it, giving it strength. Then you saw that meltdown here. So this would still be an A+, but with a strong plus, a very strong plus. I like them to occur within one candle, within one. So it's one behind. So from the center to one behind, not two behind, even though they do play out pretty well. All right, let's look if we have any more, right? Here's another one. Let's zoom in on this one because I want to be able to tell if it was a true A++ or not. And guess what? It wasn't, right? Again, it played out. This wasn't a true A++ because the cross occurred in front, right? The cross, if you put the crosshair, right? Look, I'll put my crosshair, right? The center of the candle is right here. If I move it, right, you're gonna see that, you're gonna see the cross occurred where where the finger is, right there, right? That's in front of the half of the candle. That is not a true A++, right? The move's already potentially in progress. It did continue. It's just very risky, right? All right, let's look at I want to show you guys a choppy area. All right, crossed in front. Looks like this one crossed in front. Yep, crossed in front. This one crossed behind, one candle, entry, right? This one would have nabbed you a nice little quick move. Stop loss is that little red line you see. Nice 22-point move before it came right back up. Okay. Another one, A++ right here. Let's see if this one gave you your 1-to-1. All right, you'll start seeing these. Dude, 30 points. Did you get 30 points on this bad boy? Oh, you got edged. You got edged on this one. Either it gave it to you or you got super edged on this one. Look at this. All right, this would be one where I'd be like, screw it, don't be a dick for a tick. But sometimes you get edged, right? This is again very risky one. 29.5, but that wick right there. Look at this. You got edged. It didn't hit. You would have missed it by a quarter. That would have sucked ass. That would have pissed me off. Right? I'm gonna be honest, right? And again, right here's one that failed. Right? Here's one that failed. All right, and I can automatically see why it failed, right? This is why trend is your friend, right? We're in an obvious uptrend. You see the higher low. You see this blue that held over here, big blue, right? Let's make it solid, right? There's your big blue. There's your area that held. From 892, you did have room, but it failed to push, and then you had a potential over here, but it didn't even retest either, so there was no clean entry. You had a purple up here, and then you had another purple up here. Let's make that purple. All right, you could clone, and then we had this other guy here. Right, you had a break, no real retest, right? But if I look at the risk, right? If I look at the risk, my breaking candles, 10 points, right? Yeah, I would look for the retests because that would be, if I tried to get in early, that'd be a little riskier. So I would have missed this play. Like honestly, I would have missed that one. All right, A++ short, but that's a huge impulse candle. I do not like impulse candles, right? Impulse candles are those big FU candles that come out of nowhere. I avoid those like the plague. They retrace pretty high rate. All right, crossed in front. All right, this one looked like it gave us a couple failed bearish moves, right? Blue's holding. Let's draw the purple lines, 1 and 2, right? Here's a break and a couple retests. So your long would look like this, right? Again, you're fighting that purple. You can see where it got trapped, right? So you didn't have room on this setup, right? This setup, you didn't have that room. I would have avoided this one. And look at this one, right? This one looks much better. Same entry criteria. The magnet, right? Same entry criteria. Stop loss is on the leading candle, much less risk than the previous one. I got the retest. You got your 1-to-1 and then some right there. There's your 15-point TP. There it is, 15-point TP, and then an explosion, right? Runner would have been chasing, especially on this candle, right? That's it. It's just on repeat over and over and over again, right? But be picky. Like I said, be picky with your entries. Be picky with your risk, like I am, right? I'm very picky with it. I don't just go in and look for any single break. I look for the stop loss first. What really helps, if you guys haven't tried this, I recommend this, is narration. Narration is a big thing that helps me. I narrate on Power Hour just the same way I narrate anywhere else. Right? This one, what time this happened? Right around the time that almost lunch comes in, right? Lunch comes in, it gets super wicky. 11:30-ish, right? Look at this, like this quantum broke, retest, pushed up, wick. And then gave you another one right here. You can see the blues holding, the purples breaking. Right over here, you see the blue break. Right, this one didn't give you a retest, just a 3-bar push. Could you use that as a confluence? Absolutely. Oh, look at this one right here, right? Oh, that's a beauty. Right? It's just the quantum candles, just playing the quantum candles all day. Yeah. This is why I can scalp all day and trade all day and have my fun. Right? 27 points, 27 points. Right there. It was a little less risk, 25. Right? Boom. There's your play. Right? And then your resistance, and create a new one. And then you kept going. The downtrend was strong here, right? Not an A++. Cross happened in front. And you start to see it, right? You'll start to see it. You'll start to be a little more careful, right? Here's an A++ that failed, but it is what, right? An impulse candle. Big impulse candle. I avoid these, even if they break this, right? 3-bar failure, came back down. Now you have a little bit of a quantum range. And this is the open. This is actually the open. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't play the open. So yeah, you pushed up. We rejected this quantum candle right here, which is nuts. Because the 1-minute quantum candles don't really hold a whole lot of weight during New York Open. But that rejected right on this guy right here. Where it got really choppy. Look at this. Right here. This one. This is the one that got created at 8:58. And that's where your rejection occurred. That's crazy. All right. So this is the most basic. This is the most basic. This is the setup I recommend everyone learn first. Why? Because trend is your friend. Right? Trend is your friend. And these setups a lot of the time present the lowest entry points. The lowest risk and your best entry point. I'm sorry. I said that all wrong. Right? Failed bullish moves, right? Big wicks around here are at 7 o'clock. Then big here wicks. These little candles look big. I don't know what was occurring here. But there you go, right? As long as those purples get respected, you had your blue break. This candle broke. There's a couple retests and you're pushed down. Down here it got a little choppy, looks like. Now, that's a break and retest right there. Down here, you're fighting this guy and this guy. Right, you have this guy. And again, right, I hate backtesting like this because we might have had a level. Looks like we had a level right here, right? Look at this, right? Why is it wicking right there? Why is it wicking right there? Look, we had a level right here. Right, what creates our levels? The crosses. Right, boom, there's your level. Look where we wicked. All right, see? The break, the retest, and your wick right off the level. Wick right off the level. Little A++ push, failed, retest, then push. So this is where it got trapped and it failed to break the downtrend. You can see the clear downtrend here as well. Okay, so trend is your friend. And again, this is just looking at one time frame, right? I like to blend and look at the two as well, because sometimes if the 1 minute gets very choppy, it's because the 2 minute might be in charge, and I like to play the 2 minute setups. Some of them do give just as good risk and reward entries on the two. So I will look at the two for potential entry points. It is looking like we are trapped right now. This blue's getting respected right now. Just had a little bit of a break here. We look at this? We rejected at that 61. Did anybody catch that? That was almost 100 points. Holy shiitake mushrooms. And we were just talking about the action lines curling, right? The 2 minute created a level. Your resistance point, look at that. Your purples are now being respected. Your blues are now breaking. It is fighting flip and trend. Right? You can see it clear as day. And I'm a person that loves visual cues. Right, you can see the resistance points being built up. Right, you saw this one get a little tip break, and against what? A 5 minute level. Right? These are no-nos. 5 minute level. Right at 31. Now let's see if this continues and breaks these blues, or this is where it's going to get trapped for a little bit of chop. All right, and this is how I read the market the way I read it. I can read chop. I can see where the market's going to get trapped. You can see reactions. Those of you that like to hold long, gives you a little extra kind of guidance. Okay, where is the true flip going to happen? As long as you're seeing the swing points continue, you can hold longer. You know, you can get out and re-enter like I do. Yeah, I don't hold trades for long. I look for re-entry points. I'll get trailed out and I'll look for a potential re-entry point. All right, so now, I hope that kind of cleared up some of this stuff for you. This was basically a whole recap of quantum, right? The A++, the blues and the purples breaking, the trend, how to play the trend, and that is the basics. Those are the quantum breaks of the blues or the purples are the easiest plays to learn first. The easiest. Ooh, there's your break, little tiny retest. That didn't even really give you an opportunity to get in, honestly. There's a golden MVG. These tend to give extra oomph. Yeah, there goes. There goes. There's the extra oomph, right? MVGs with failed bearish, bullish moves. There goes, right? That was an instant bleed through, right? If anybody managed to take this, that was an 11-point risk. Already got 30 points in the blink of an eye. Right, didn't present the tippy tap, but I'm looking at where we could potentially, if I see a golden MVG, I'll use the golden MVG as a tighter stop. But that was a very nice meltdown after that golden MVG. Golden MVGs, do not sleep on these. When you have golden MVG and quantum confluences, do not sleep on those. Every time I see a golden MVG with a blue or purple, I'm almost always in. Yeah, look at that, the downtrend taking over. Now look where we're reacting, right? 855, 853. These levels need a break. This is a 1 and 2 minute level. These two need a break if we're going to keep pushing down. You saw that reaction right there. All right, so we went through it all, actually. There you got another 2 minute golden MVG above. All right, so now it's Q&A time. I'm going to answer some questions. You took the sell, Raheem. Let's fucking go, man. That was a beauty. That was a beauty with the golden MVG right there. Don't sleep on golden MVGs, guys. All right, look at where it's bounced. Look where it bounced, right near those. Again, this is why I don't use levels as TPs. I do not use levels at TPs, no guarantee, right? If it breaks through, it can continue, absolutely, but it needs to break through. This is a 1 and 2 minute area, so both a 1 minute and 2 minute net candle need to close below the 850. Then below that, we have that 5 minute level at 823. This is now a barrier on the 5 up there at 938. That's a 5 minute candle that needs to close above that 930 area, 940. Okay, we still have this blue candle all the way down here in the 5 minute. Right below these levels as well. So this 789, 780, all right, 789, 780 area, 823. Right below that, you'll have this blue down here at 714. Right, your 5 minute gives you a lot more room in between. Okay, your 2 minute looks like would potentially have room to come if it breaks through these levels, right? What's in between? Then you have this blue down here at 783, 773, and this is how you can see where the reactions are going to be. on each time frame. Now that 98, look at that rejection at 98. We just filled that golden MVG, right? If it's going to continue, it has to break through that level to challenge 931. So we could get trapped between these two levels here, right? When support becomes resistance as well, you have 2 points of support at 891 and 880 that are now also potentially resistance. Once the lines break though, like once those candles break, I remove the lines. I don't keep the lines. Like I'll remove them, right? We have a level up there to use as guidance as well. All right, let me scroll up. Let's see. I like to play mainly, I saw a question about the trend. I like to play with the trend. Trend is your friend. All right, let's go. Okay, what are the morning show? Did you recently switch? All right, let's go. I've done Asia trades for like 90% of the day. The last 3 weeks of Asia have been amazing. I've loved the last 3 weeks of Asia. I usually trade gold during Asia, but I haven't traded gold this whole month, honestly, because Asia's been really freaking good. Like nice volume and everything. Oh, I didn't know. Okay. Okay, so entry is as soon as it hits the retest spot. Yes, that's again, I do breaks and retests. So as soon as it hits that retest spot, I get in. My stop loss is clear as day. My trade of 8 went into a reset, so I had to redo everything. But the wealth charts, I barely changed anything. Behind the middle of the candle, areas of lines cross. Yep, okay, you guys, yep, that's the answers. Okay. I suggest to look at the corners of the candles depending on buy or sell. The cross or buy is bottom left and cross for the top right. Financial wise. Just got back. That's okay. If you guys need, if you guys have questions, ask them. All right, right on. Could you tell us ways to decipher potential common strengths of different price levels? Basically, how to differentiate which levels are more relevant than others. I think is what I meant. Instant pregnancy. Basically, just trend. Right. That's it. Right. The levels attached to failed bullish or bearish moves tend to be stronger. Like we're seeing right now, we're seeing this 90 area that was support now become resistance, right? You have a level at 898. You saw that nice wick reject, and this is just basically where your potential lower high could potentially be. So I continue to follow the levels as like footsteps of where we could continue to chop around and bounce at, right? I look at the DOM, all right, and the DOM is kind of soft stuff. I go over that with the students as well as added confluence for level strength, and I look for a certain reaction with the DOM around the levels to see if they have strength. Right? If you read the DOM, there's like there's a certain speed shift that occurs that I look at. If the cross up in the middle of the quantum candle and I don't have the buy or sell signal, also need confirmation in different time frames. Yeah, so if it should always signal if it crosses within one candle. If it doesn't, you might need to check your settings, but yeah, if it doesn't, you can check the different time frames, absolutely. I like to play the crosses that don't have buys and sells, but I like to play them at key areas. Yeah, see, exactly, confluence. Yes, Sam, that's the correct way to do it. That's the correct way to do it. And if you're playing pure levels, that's the correct way to do it. With this current price action, where's a purple right next to the blue? Would you count that purple as breaking the blue? Yes, right? But again, right, we just saw this. Was it 835? Yes, okay, right here, right? But what were you fighting against? A 5-minute level. 5-minute levels attached to a purple candle, right? Just because it broke the tippy tip, you have no room to play. This is not a good play to take. So you still have to be able to tell, right? You still want to make sure you're not getting faked out by watching what's occurring. You have a 5-minute level forming, you're not going to want to play against that. The 5-minute levels are the strongest quantum levels outside of the 15-minute. We've actually been watching these 15-minute levels really hold really nicely. And I used to not look at the 15-minute until we added that. We added the update where we have all the time frames that we can see, right? We can modify. On the 5-minute, you can modify to have your 5-minute and 15-minute levels. You can even add a 30-minute level if you want, but I cap it at 15. 30-minute, a lot of playthrough. 15, still you'll see some playthrough on some instances, but they've been holding pretty well when they have other areas that they react to. With this current price, okay, what up, Sam? Javi is my OG mentor. Yeah. I like to change the colors of the lines so they are easier to tell apart. Yeah, Lucifer, you can absolutely do that. Thought you were PHP. He's the father of baby quantum, so I call him Papa Javi. Yeah, I had Sam before PHP, guys. I had Sam before CSO. Sam was my baby first. But again, right? He grows up. Everyone grows up. I have CSOs that have come to me too. And we just spread the love, right? We go around. We're like the best step family you can have. We share. We don't care. we know each other's strats are good. Like right now at the 5 minute, the line crossed on top of the purple candle. Yes. Yep. This is an A++ setup, right? But it's a 5 minute setup, right? So it's a very risky setup, right? On the 5, and it did reject, right? This is one that you could have entered if you got that pull up, but down here, let's look at the risk on this 5 minute, right? What would it have looked like on the 5 if you got in all the way down here, right? This is why I'm so picky. It's a 62-point stop loss. Fuck that, right? If it pulled up, right, I would have tested it around up here, a 20-point stop loss. See if it holds the purple. If it was up here, but up down here, hell no. All the way down there, no way, Jose. That's 64-point stop loss, right? Look at how much that pulled up, right? Then you could reduce if you got in up here at 30 and still respect the same stop, right? That would have been the play right here, like 10-point stop loss. And then you caught a nice 70-point drop. That would have been the play right there. But this is why the higher time frames are riskier though, right? The retest tend to be steep. Oh, look at what's happening now. Failed bullish move right there. Look at that, break and retest. But this is again, right? You're fighting these levels below. Still need to break that 850. Still got to break that 850, right? Very risky. 1525, and let's see if it gives you that 1525 or 1525 TP, but at those levels, 856. This is why I don't like to play these if it's too close. Let's see if it stopped your ass out, or because of right. Look at the 5 minute, right? This is why I wanted to say look at it. The 5 minute is still technically in an uptrend on this higher time frame. Does it have room to go? Yes, it does. It does have room to go, but you want to be cautious with levels. There's no guarantee it's going to hit those. So I'm going to watch this one. Because your TP would be at the levels. That's too close. I want the TP to have a little bit of breathing room. So if it does hit it, great. And if it goes through the levels, great. Well, let's watch. Like right at the 5 minute line cross on, yeah. Do you only play towards the trend? I like to play towards the trend. I have my sauce box that we are currently renaming actually, but I'm still going to call it sauce box, is a major area where I look for potential reversals at times. It just depends. I have to see certain reactions. Now look at this thing just gets trapped. It's just trapped down here. And that's what I'm looking at when I play sauce box stuff. I look for potential reversal points or rejection points. Sometimes for quick scalps too. Yeah, see, look at this, right? Levels holding. This is why I don't like using levels as TPs. This would be a no-go. Ooh, blue coming in. So now we're going to have another support zone. All right, we're still in an uptrend on the deeper side, right? This is our resistance. This is what's preventing the flip on the 5. This 50 level. This 50 needs to get through, right? Remember what I was saying earlier, right? The trend, right? We need to, what do we have in here that'll prevent it from going? We got those 2 levels right here. Look at that push up. You're about to get stopped out. You're about to get stopped out right here. It's going to stop you out. Yeah, there it goes. Look at that. See, this is a good example of when a bad play presents, right? Be very careful with your room. Why I'm very picky with where my stop losses are and why I want there to be room. This could also strat 6 you, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay? So I like to show the good and the bad and the ugly. I like to show it all, right? Because again, right? Oh, that's gonna strat 6. That's gonna strat 6 you right there. Look at that rejection. The 2 minutes trying to curl up. It's still trapped though. It needs to break that 850 if it's gonna go further. Appreciate a lot of questions. Take advantage of study sessions, hobbies, brain as much as you can. Awesome. I'll try to be selective. Why did you play that one up there? That stop loss, Femi, right? Again, the breaking candle was humongous. So your stop loss was like super tight because of that breaking candle. So you got to be more selective. And that short was this guy. What was that short? That was this one right here, right? Or what was that one? I'm trying to see with your picture where that was. Was that this here? No, that wasn't this. I'm trying to see. It doesn't match with anything that I'm currently seeing. See purple, blue. Is that this? No, I don't see. I don't see where that is, Fumi. I only see this part, but that doesn't even. This doesn't even match up. So I'm not sure what you entered in there. But that first one, that's a big breaking candle. If you're playing that, that stop loss is super tight. I wouldn't have played that one. How much does the executive signal play into your trading? Do you use them, or can you without actually? You can use. Yeah, I use them. I absolutely use them, but I only use them with added confluence. Oh, this strat 6'd you. It strat 6'd you. I get strat 6 sometimes, guys. I do get strat 6. I knew. I had a feeling it was gonna strat 6 you. But this is something that occurs, right? I take losses too. Like some people think I don't take losses. I absolutely take losses. Strat 6 for that pull down. And for all of you that are new, Strat 6 is a joke that we have here in the MOT community that started with Llama, Sober Pay to Play, where he plays a directional trade, he gets wicked out, and then the play continues in his direction. That's the birth of Strat 6. And then it happens to a lot of us sometimes now. Now it's a joke strategy. It's not a real strategy, but it's a joke strategy. But it's got this ridiculously stupid win rate because it's funny that it actually plays out. It's funny to see it. So if you guys are wondering what Strat 6 is, that's what Strat 6 is. If you ever watched the morning show, I wanted to make that clear because I'm saying I get Strat 6 and didn't give context. I want to learn how to trade like you because trading all day seems like the life I enjoy. But I clearly need to study more. Yes, Easy Trades, you got to study, right? And again, right, it's there. Quantum presents multiple setups. It presents multiple setups. But when you're too condensed in an area where there's too many levels and there's no room, that's where I take breaks because I want the chart to open up. I want to have areas for it to play through. So it helps me. It helps me by giving me extra patience, right? If I see we're surrounded by levels, I ain't touching nothing. Because I'm not going to guess it's going to break this one, this one, this one, and then it only has room a little bit to go here and a little bit to go there. That's where people get stuck and eaten in the chop, is when they try to play these tight, condensed areas where it's just trapped. And Quantum lets me see where it gets trapped, right? We're obviously trapped between these two levels right here. Look, it still didn't break 53. Look at this. And it just shot up. Look, it closed. It could not close below 53. Wicked up, pushed up, and now it's back up. This is the chop. People dying, right? This right here, right? You have the candle breaking, but you don't have the levels breaking. That's where you got to be careful. Look at another big blue coming in, right? At the bottom of these levels. We are in the chop. Bottom is 850, 53. Top is around this 90 area. So when you hear me saying the range, when Power Hour, because Power Hour is notorious for range, I can see it because I can see where the levels might get trapped or the candles are getting trapped. And I can see where we're going back and forth, back and forth. And the top right now is this 86 area, 80-ish area. The bottom is that 50 area. And that's it. Until one side breaks, you're just going to keep bouncing back and forth. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. All right. Size down and have patience. First step, yep. Sam gives some great advice, y'all. Yes, levels at crosses or wicks. The levels can cross on any part of a quantum candle brisket, okay? It could cross at the wick, it could cross on the candle. The wick, for me, the quantum candles, wicks, are a part of the candle body. Only for the quantum candles. I count the wicks as a part of the body. When you draw the one, why didn't it show on the 2 and a 5? Oh, because I don't have it on global. I don't have it on global. So I only draw my levels on each time frame that I'm looking at. That's it. Can you explain the MOC read? I'll explain it a little bit at the end, a little bit, yeah. It's basically the 1 minute quantum levels. Actually, recently it's been respecting the 5s. It's been respecting the 5s, but yeah, we'll go over that. Let me answer some questions. I went from minus 290 to 86. Minus 86. There you go. That's a W. We're young, but we'll adopt you. I took a sell based off the blue second retest. Was that wrong on the blue at 848? Let's see what happened to 848. 848. So that was around here. Right here. Unless you got stopped out. But no, I mean, that wasn't bad. You had room. If you got in somewhere around here, that was good. right? These blues broke. You obviously got a level rejection here. This is where your ideal entry would be up here for the short, a 90. And then you have that push down. So again, right, we're still chopping. Look at this, right? We pushed up to, I said the top is 890 area. Look at that. Back down to 50. It looks like it's going to break the 50 though. But you want to still be patient and cautious. Look at that. I don't want to ask too much because I missed a good chunk of the stream, but I'm curious on when you delete the lines you've drawn. And if you draw levels off of the wicks or action line crosses. The action line crosses create the levels automatically for you, Brisket. The lines, right, once the level is broken, line is gone, right? Candle close below it, line is gone. That's simple. I don't keep the lines once it's in. By broken, it means candle closure, right? Like this one over here, right? If this was the level, once that candle closed below it, I just know that 90 is a guide point, right? I had a level at 98. I'll get rid of it still. Golden MVG, let's see if this thing can break through that 50. It has to break through 50 first. Even with the golden MVG there, like I'm gonna be cautious with this 50 area. We've been getting some really hard wicks. It might try to break it, but you still want to be cautious. All right, if you got an area that's reacting really freaking hard, he's still wicking at 850. All right, I don't want to ask too much, and that's okay, Brisket, right? If you miss questions or anything, right, this is recorded. We are going to post this up in my YouTube channel, so you'll get to rewatch this, and you can ask questions in the quantum chat. Oh, it did break the levels right now. Now it's retesting, but it needs to hold below. You don't want to see it pull up too much. The 2 minute just broke. The 2 minutes kind of doing a break and retest as well. That 60 area on the 2, we just broke those levels. Let's see if this thing starts to pull down further. It's hesitant. It's very hesitant. Again, we're still in an uptrend on the deeper time frame. So you still want to be cautious. Shorts are going to be very, very wicky until we get all the way down to this 23 level. See, look at that. Look at that wick. Like, you got a new lower low at 48, but it's getting super duper wicky. So you're going to see like quick reactions. Then it's going to pull up and make a lower high, and then quick reaction again. All right. You're both pretty. That was when I was skinny, or skinnier. I wasn't that skinny there. That means I have to wait for another family. The move soon. And look at that pull up. I love Korean dramas. Oh man, Korean dramas are good. We just finished watching that learning one, the teacher, that badass teacher. Or not the teacher, they're like the he's in the military or whatever, but he goes in and like takes care of business with the students. Well, I forgot what it's called. Dude, I'm like surprised that some like the Korean dramas, like when they're at school and shit and they're fighting. I'm like, damn, these are actually really good. All right, there's that MVG fill. Again, right, we're still uptrending on the higher time frame, so be careful. Shorts are going to be short-lived. It's going to pull up, pull down, pull up, pull down. I can see this occurring just based on what I'm seeing here. Big blue on the 2. That's an A++ on the 2, but then 98. The volatility tonight is kind of wild. A 98.75 needs to break on the 1. All right. The 5, look how deep the 5. Okay, so little chicken on the market structure stuff, right? Higher, you guys should know the basics: higher lows, higher highs, right? I'm wondering if this is going to be that on the 5. I would have liked it to go a little deeper to test this area for that level, but if this is it, right? If this is it, we're going to see that 190, that 98 break, and then you're going to see a push up to 838, and then it's going to test to see if it really wants to continue an uptrend. It needs to break this up here on the 5. Right, and then it'll make a new higher high and maybe contest this 988. So let's see if that's what it wants to do, right? The higher time frame again, right? This is why I watch the trend on the 5, because we are still in a deep uptrend, still challenging the rest of that green. There's 98. There's your explosion. Push off 98. That was a quick little push. Gonna keep going though. It needs to hold over that retest. There's your retest. And there's a little bit of a bounce, and there's a nice push, right? And then this is literally how I do break and retest, right? There was your retest, nice little push, comes back down. It still needs to hold that area. If it bleeds through, right? If it bleeds through, we're going to retest that 70 or 69 area. Right, there's a push below 98, right? If it closes below, then we have a potential retest of that 69 2-minute level. But it needs to see a strong push below. Right now it's just hanging out right below it. Oh, actually we broke these purples here. So we could be getting a break and retest of this candle. I'm not looking at the 1 minute correctly. We could be getting a break and retest on several areas. So you have several areas to retest. Alright, so you need to break through each little area. So you got to break through here. Oh, there was a nice little push, but you got to break through here, then test that 69. It's just very choppy. It's like very like blocky, the moves. Here's a potential 3. Yeah, this was the retest on the 1. Was 90. If it bleeds through 90, this is how you can see these retest pockets. Right, where you can see a little push through here, boom, boom. But looks like this 90 held. Can you get a 3-bar continuation, or will it break back in and push down here now? Right. Okay. Whoops. I could also cook clean, K-drama, Japanese. Are you guys fighting to be adopted? I'm just reading through this. 80% just finished up and getting ready to decorate for fall. Basic Spanish, and yeah, I'm not qualified. Defender for oh my god. When do you get rid of the purple lines and blue lines? Once they break, right? I just like to use them. I like to use them as visual aid when I'm teaching. But when I know when the area breaks, right? 98, below 98 is 70, and then the level below. So these are like those 2 little retest areas. But once they break, I get rid of them. If the level's still there, like this blue here on the 1 minute would still be here right now because it still hasn't been broken. This one here, right? This blue on the 2 minute was broken. Oh, look at that. That one played out. Right, that little 1 minute retest zone that I ignored because I wasn't paying on the 1 minute. There's your play, right there. Yeah, 2 retest zones on the 1. Boom. Right, those 2 retest zones, if it broke through 1, it would have gone to retest the other. You can see it, right? Picture perfect retest. And it gave you a little nice push. There. Another scalp. Right, the A++ on the 2 minute looks like this. It could either be the level as your stop loss, right? You could have gotten in at candle closure. Your 20 points, you got them already. Looks like, yep. You would have gotten your 20 points right there. Your 1-to-1. Right? If you're playing the whole candle, you're looking for this. Close to that 5 minute level. A lot more riskier. All right? Close to a 5 minute level, dangerous. You can watch and see if it gets it. If it gets it, great. If it doesn't, you got to be like, oh, well, I was playing against a 5 minute level. I should have taken some and let a runner run, or just risk that level instead, which reduces your risk immensely. Right? Immensely. But these are the 2 setups on the 2 minute. Either the level as your stop loss or the whole candle, and you go for 1-for-1. When do you get rid of the purple lines? Okay, Logan, he calls me. Hey man, these are not regular Korean dramas though. Have you got lessons on wealth charts on how to set up? Big BB, that's a great question that you asked me, because I'm going to do that next. I am going to be doing a wealth charts video on quantum, and then I'm going to be doing, I want to do a live one as well. I want to do a quantum wealth chart session as well, because on my phone when I trade wealth charts, I only trade quantum and nothing else. I don't even use golden MBG on wealth charts. Javi got me my first payouts. Let's go. Is this being recorded? Yes, it is. It is being recorded, Mr. Slight Work. All right, Sam, I love KJ. I do gold shopping right now. Gold shopping. Yeah, look at that, right? 5 minute level rejected. That's why I don't like to use those. This could be the 2 minute trend flip. We already saw the 1 minute trend flip. 2 minute trend flip hasn't fully occurred yet, so let's see. Ooh, oh my god. The hiccups, right? That was a scalp, and now you got another purple. Let's get rid of some of these. I draw them for example, and then I leave them alone. Right, now you got your boom, boom. You got that level right there. Okay. All right, dumped 480 points straight off a 10-minute cross about a week ago. Yeah, it does that too, Salty. It does daily. I've seen daily signals that have played out, but I don't have that kind of patience, I'll draw now. I just don't. Okay, take advantage of these sessions. I want to make sure I don't miss questions. Questions on TradingView. On one of the candles turned blue, while on Wealth Charts it didn't. Which one do I listen to? So if you're looking at my chart, I trade. I don't trade NQ. Okay, I chart NQ. I chart on NQ because NQ is the true volume of NASDAQ, right? M and Q has different volume. If you put them side by side and you open up your volume, you're gonna see the difference, okay? Can't open up my things right now because I have some chicken in there. So you have to, if you do that, and you'll see the difference of volume between the two. That affects a little bit of the candle data, which will affect if they turn or not. There's not that much difference though. When me and Owen were testing this, he tested on MNQ, I tested on NQ, and he did just as good as I did. Again, on Wealth Charts, I trade only on MNQ. I don't even chart NQ on Wealth Charts. So I know that we can still get the same things. Will you miss a signal or here and there? Yes, you will, right? You might miss a candle turn that turned on NQ that didn't turn on MNQ. It does happen, I've seen it. We've tried to find ways to work around it, but because of the dumb reasons that they freaking separate the volume on the two and it affects the candles and stuff, it's a pain in the ass to even like attempt to keep it or like to consistently keep the data tracked. And it didn't really work. It didn't really work. So it's just one of those things. You're either going to chart on NQ or you're gonna like I do, right? I chart on NQ on TradingView and I trade on Tradeovate, or if I'm on Wealth Charts, I'm just doing MNQ. That's it. And I do know I miss signals here and there, and I miss candles here and there. I see them when I get on the Power Hour, or I go check on my phone and I'm looking where my sauce boxes are. I'll be like, oh, that candle turned here and it didn't turn on Wealth Charts, but it also didn't turn on TradingView's MNQ either. It's just one of those things. We tried to find a workaround it. Unfortunately, we couldn't. Looks like we're gonna get a flipping trend here. This two minute creates a new lower low. We're gonna see that push towards that 5-minute level potentially. It's another purple 5. So the 5-minute getting some more resistance up here in that 900 to 940 pocket. The 2-minute now potentially in a choppy chop area as well. We just had a quantum break of the blue. Just a hard retest though. Just the 2 minutes trying to hold below this level. I think this is gonna just fight it a little bit still. Again, right, it made equal lows right now, but there's a little pullback. But can it keep going though? I just see it being like a move and then chop, a move and then chop. But there goes. Yep, that was nice. That would have been a 2-point stop loss on that. I did take a nibble on that one. On that meltdown, I actually got in like at 61. Just took a couple off there on that 49 push. There's that 2-minute level that got created right there. Look at this, see, look at these wicks. See, there my runners got trailed out. Just like that, fast. It just makes a quick move and then just pulls up. This is how the price action has been tonight. Just fighting. Yeah. Round 3. Another rejection. Still fighting that uptrend. All right, we still got a little bit of green left. So it's still fighting. That's why we're seeing these reactions. There's a nice rejection again. All right, sorry, I was answering questions. Is there a vote going on the remaining of Saucebox? The renaming. Not a real vote. Not a real vote. We kind of have the names that I like, that I want to kind of put on there, but we haven't done that now. Some of the names that some of the people put out are kind of very questionable. So we get the name choosing in the background. You know, we get it in the back. I fixed the tilt issue we are talking about last time. Thanks again for the help. Let's fucking go, man. Look at this thing. This is just super chop. Little quick moves. We're still fighting that Trend cloud. It did make a lower low. Look at this, still doing it. Like the 1 minute made a lower low, and then quickly wicks right back up. It's just this cloud needs to go. It needs to break all of this, and then you'll get a potential true flip. But like I said, these shorts are going to be short-lived, and then reaction up, and then I'm personally a fan of Saucebox. Love my Saucebox. When did I say I was poor? I'm confused because I don't mess with Samsung. Oh yeah, not everybody messes with Samsung. Just because you don't have a Samsung doesn't mean you're poor. That's a weird thing to insinuate. Whoever did. My wife refuses to touch Android devices. Refuses. Okay, look, there's another rejection on that 2-minute level. Right. Oh yeah, you know what? I just realized we haven't broken this 2-minute blue. That's why we're also wicking up here. This 2-minute blue hasn't broken yet right here. The 846. Now I'm like looking at my one. Okay. Me too. Want to meet more name I guess. The main character, Korean drama, the Korean drama stuff. Can you explain how you play the chop, especially with your quantum lines and trends? It's just when I see the levels or the quantum candles lined up in an area. All right. I see a little bit of fight going on with the levels. If I see a potential level rejection, I'm just waiting for points to hit back and forth, and then I use the DOM as extra confluence. I can't get too deep into it, right? But I've gone over how when the purples and the blues get stuck on the higher time frames, you can play that off of the 1 minute. But when it's just the 1 minute, it's just back and forth. But you look for the reactions around levels, the rejections around levels. But that's it. That's kind of it in a nutshell. Especially when you have a nice wide 5-minute range, that's where you can really play some good chop. If you have a blue and a purple on the 5-minute that are kind of like wide, and you play it on the 1 minute, right, and it gets close to the blue on the 1 minute, your action lines will curl, and you'll get a buy signal, and you'll get a push. It's cool to see it when it's like that. It's very rare to get clean 5-minute range chop the last couple weeks. I haven't seen a clean one. I went over my other, because I do have another chop strategy that I've never broken with anybody, because the quantum chop is easy, right? You get your blues and your purples back to back, but they have to not be breaking. You don't want to see breaking and then going and then breaking and then going. But there's another chop strategy that I did break down in the course. But that's awesome. Sorry. But the quantum one is easy. The quantum one is easy. You wait for a 2-minute or a 5-minute blue and purple fight. That's it. You just want to see a big, like, this is too big though. Right? This like 917 all the way down to 982. That would be too big. Way too big. So you want to see like something back and forth. Let me see, like something like this, right? Something like this, where you have a blue and a purple right there. And on the 5 minutes, like this little chop zone here would have probably looked decent on the one, unless the candles were huge. But this is what I want to see for like good 10-minute chop. Like, this is not super good because these are kind of back and forth, already melted through. This blue broke that purple, so that's not good. And like I said, it hasn't been like super good and clean on the 5 minute. Here was kind of good a little bit. So you initially had this, right? You initially, on the 5 minute, you had that purple up here and the blue down here. So you had a little bit of play, but you could see where it was kind of resisting. Then you had another blue that showed up. But you want to see back and forth blues and purples without one being broken. Right? That purple broke the blue. Big retest of rejection. But we haven't had, like I said, we haven't had any good 5 minute range chop for quantum in a while. Like I haven't seen a good one. Like that was already occurred, and then eventually it broke the blue right there. All right, no, not a clean one. You want to see it last for a while. Yeah, there hasn't been anything good. Blue broke, blue broke. What the hell is this? Yeah. Here's a little fight that occurred for 15 minutes. Might have played out. Here's another one. This one would have been your best shot right here. This was on July 15th. So that's what I look for, right? I look for 5 minute, maybe even 2 minute ranges if they're wide enough, and then play them on the 1 minute. Look at that bounce off 23. Look at that bounce off that level. What did I say, right? Gonna get down to the level. That's gonna be reaction. 30-point bounce-a-rooney. All right. I didn't even see the Dom, if the Dom reacted or not. Let me get rid of these. Sorry, I gotta clean up the mess. All right. Today it looks like it's a lot of level play, honestly. You'll have a few quantum candle plays, but there's a lot of level plays tonight. And this is where you can adapt to the market. Because there's days where there's nothing but quantum ranges. There's days where it's like a nice trend day and you just continuously play the failed blues and purples. Then there's days where it's like levels are just on point. Like the levels are clean. Right, here's a cross in front. So these are ones you want to be careful of. Right, crosses in front. Right, already rejected at this level. Does have a golden NVG attached to it. So yeah, there goes right now. I was going to say it's going to push and retest. But it still needs to break through that level on the 2 minute. Okay. 8:59. What time is it? Okay, damn. I'm like 30, almost 30 minutes behind. Okay, I'm gonna scroll. Super scroll. My candle. Would you consider these two boxes chop? On the 1 minute, no. On the 5 minute, that one, only the blue and the purple back to back. But that was a 10 minute if you look at the two, and then the break finally happened later. But you only want to that whole box itself, right? You only had one purple. You didn't have a blue at the beginning. You're waiting for the blue and purple to fight. That's what you want to see, right? When it's trapped between a blue candle and a purple candle for a while, those tend to be the best chop zones. That 2 minute retest is printing. You caught it easy? Nice. It bounced back and forth. I think it's chopped, but scat view is not. The first box looks like it's chopped. Yes, the second box, not really. Oh man, look at that golden MVG push. I'm telling you, like, I don't ignore these normally, but this is super choppy. So I'm like being cautious with what I'm looking at. But that blue and a golden MVG is almost always a gimme. It's just that 2 minute level already got tapped, so it was kind of scary to try to take that. Okay, I'm just asking, is he saying MVG if that's what? Yeah, so MVG is max value gap. That's another one of our indicators that I pair with quantum. So if anybody's interested in pairing indicators, like a lot of people do, you could pair quantum with anything, literally anything. A lot of P2P guys use it. I love it with MVG. Like, I freaking love the golden MVG. I only look for the golden ones, the ones with the yellow lines. That's it. All right, I practice on Welchers. I have no account I can practice on. I cheat to learn, or something like that. I saw that one. Yeah, MVGs are different, and it's like an added confluence, right? This is an added confluence. You don't have to have it on You don't have to have it on. It's just so good. Like, you see a quantum blue in this, like, I would almost instantly hit buy, but again, like, the only reason I didn't was because I already saw that rejection off that blue, off that level. It could have gotten trapped, and I avoid getting trapped. Promise I won't look at the chicken. Yeah, it's going to be recorded, so the chicken's going to be up on YouTube. Do you have a setup code for wealth charts? I do not. It's a layout. There's a layout code you can get. I think I do have one. I don't remember. I know I have one. I just don't share it. Because one time somebody got my indicators. There was like a glitch. And then I was told never to share my layout again. But I think they fixed it. I think they fixed it because Max shared his layout. But it happened to Max too. He did it, and then the indicators that he used got put on their people, and they had to do this whole thing. It was crazy. It was chaotic. All right. Do you bracket trades? No, I do not do any type of bracket orders. I don't do any type of ATMs either. I do everything manual. One of the times you on wealth charts, can you show how to do auto trails manually? I see you press something, but I don't know how to do it. The auto trails on wealth charts, easy trades. Click on strategy and you can fiddle with your ATM settings. My MVG does not show on wealth charts 1 minute. The MNQ, Miami Tom. The MVGs, well, because remember what I said about MNQ? The difference in volume affecting the candles? You're going to see a lot less MVGs on MNQ because of that. Okay, so let me show you how to, okay, let me show you how to do on the wealth charts. Okay, let me switch the let me show you. Let's do it. Why not? Change stream. And here. All right. Just pick a random account. Oh, these are ones that I toasted last week. I've been practicing copy trading. Not going very good. I burned through some Apex accounts I didn't mean to burn. And oh no, freaking I don't even know why this one got burnt. Look at this. Look at this. Look at all these Apex accounts. I accidentally attached my Alpha Zeros to these Apexes, and I toasted them because it wasn't working right. The copy trade wasn't working right, and it threw a few of the accounts opposite directions. So I was like, oh my god, what's going on? And I'm an idiot with anything setting up copy trading. I'm an idiot. I know I didn't set something right. I messed something up. I know I did. So I was like, oh, whatever. My wife doesn't know about it. Now she found out. Oh well, okay. All right, let's see. Okay, there's the wealth charts. I heard I'm in trouble, guys. I'm in trouble. Anyways, I still got a payout coming from Lucid. I still got a couple payouts from Lucid coming, so we good. We good. All right. All right. So wealth charts, right? Let's just do a single chart so you guys can see it, right? It's very simple to do the auto trail, all right? So let's just say I want to put a sell. Wait, what's going on? It's doing that thing again. It's frozen on me. This is exactly what happened when I was doing this earlier. It's not moving. Okay. This is what happened to me earlier, and I was like, not sure what happened. Is there something going on with the Omniprop thing? Let me just go to Apex. All right, let me just go to Apex. Something's going on with the thing. There, now it looks different. All right. Which account was this one? This was 207. 207. 207. Okay, that's wow. All right. Yeah, you guys saw that, right? That's exactly what happened to me earlier, where I got into a trade and it was all messed up. I was like, what's going on? And me being an idiot, I just kept pressing the button. Toasted those accounts. I was like, I messed something up. I didn't know what. Okay. All right. Let's start from scratch, all right? How to trail, right? Easy, right? I'm going to just get into 2 contracts, whatever, right? Set one to buy. All right, let's just see if it picks it up or not. I'm just gonna put it close. All right, let's see if it picks it up, or I could just show you how to trail it. But this is what I wait to do. I wait for it to hit a TP, and then once it does, just go in the direction already. I don't see any setup right now, so I'm just kind of winging it. Just want to show you real quick. Just do it. Let's see if it takes it. But, and honestly, I could just click on it, right? You click on the tag. No, it doesn't show you on this one because it needs to be on the top. Go back. Go back. This is an eval. I don't care. I'm going to DCA it. I don't care. It's an eval. Okay? There you go. Okay. So, let's say I want to put a buy, right? And then I want to trail it as my stop. All right? I click on it. Auto trail. Okay. And then it should auto trail. Well, it took it out. All right. Oh, there we go. Okay. Buy. All right. Bitch! Oh, I shouldn't be custom because YouTube flags me on this. YouTube flags me on it when I do it, okay? But it's just, you click the order, right? And then you click on it and you hit the auto trail and you hit okay. And then it auto trail it from wherever you leave it. You can also modify it, like there it goes, see, there it goes. Okay, finally, thank you. We're just trying to show an example. I'm not trying to get into a real trade, right? You can drag it still. You can still drag that trail as well. It'll just trail it from wherever you set it. But on the phone, you press and hold on the screen. So if you're on the phone, you would press and hold on the screen, and you would then put the order, right? You would put if you're a buy stop, you would put your buy stop, and then you would click on the tag, the label, and then you would just hit the auto trail button. That's it. Hopefully that helped. I had to refresh. Yeah, I'm an idiot with that, Ben Chang. Thank you for that, because I totally messed up those accounts earlier because I could not figure out why my things were frozen. I appreciate y'all. But that's how you do it, right? That's how to switch it. You just literally click on the banner, right? The way I have it set, okay, I don't have the indicator, the turn trade indicator off, right? I don't have that little banner, right? It'll look like this on my phone. So you'll see that little line, right? And if I set a stop, you're gonna see it small. Oh, this thing is just moving so fast, right? And I could see the line. I could click on the line and still hit the auto trail from the line, right? And it'll auto trail it. But that's it. That's how you do auto trailing on wealth charts. It's very simple. You just have to first put in the order. So you first put in the order, and then, right? Then you click on it, and then you set the auto trail. That's it. Oh, I could do it without putting in a trade. That's great. I should have done that first, but whatever. I don't know if I made any money on that or if I just, right, did whatever. I have to go and hit cancel, exit all. Okay. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, I'm much better on mobile than on freaking computer wealth charts. Some of you guys saw that on the wealth charts seminar. I was like, "Where's this? Where's that?" On my phone, quickly find it. I'll be like, doo, 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 doo. I'll be like, doo, doo, doo. I'm the guy on the computer on the phone. On the computer, I'm like, oh, where's this contraption? Where's that button? Oh, I'm like a 50, 80-year-old grandpa on the computer. I'm so bad on that. But yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you auto trail. It's very easy. It's very simple. I click the line and I don't see auto trail. I see stop where you see auto trail. Make sure you put in the correct order though. So you got to make sure if you're in a sell, right? If you're in a sell, you got to hit buy. And make sure you're also updated. And that auto trail should always show up. Right? If you're placing the order, it always depends where you're placing the order. You have to place it in the direction of your trade. Right? And also make sure that you're updated, right? If you have the banners on, and if you have any issues, I would just go to Wealth Charts, and they have their support. Their support's fucking awesome. If you guys have not checked out their support, their live support, especially when they're live, they're freaking amazing. So I would definitely check that out as well. Sometimes the auto trail does not show on the demo account. It should always show P2 CC. I've never had it not show. The only times it doesn't show is if I didn't place the order correctly. Like if I'm not hovering it in the right place. I tried to do it that way, they do it, and the way you do it. I tried to do it there. You can click top right strategy and click simple and create it from there. Yeah, it should. That's weird, man. Definitely open up a support ticket with them, and yeah, because I mean, I could put a. See, if I put a sell up here, see, I put a sell. Look, I can't do it, right? Because it's a sell. I'm putting a sell on top, right? It doesn't give me that option, right? If I'm putting it on top, but if I do a buy, because I'm looking, right? If I'm shorting, I'm looking for the buy to trail, right? If I do a buy, it gives me the option, right? On the buy, there's the option. So that's why it's important to make sure you're placing it in the correct direction. So I can't put a buy on the bottom to trail. I can put a buy on the top to trail, right? Like this. Like if I put a buy down here, right? If I put a buy down here, right? No option to trail. If I put a sell down here, there's the option to trail. That's why I'm wondering if that's what you're doing. That's the only thing I can think of, because it's directional. I can only do a sell trail at the bottom. I can't do a buy trail down there. But if you're having issues, definitely go to Wealth Chart support when they're live, and they'll walk you through it. If there's something wrong, maybe your update didn't get in correctly, they'll walk you through it as well. That's weird, CC. I've never had that. I've never had that issue happen to me. Never had that issue. Show him the top where none at the cell. Show him the top where none at. The top? Where none at? That's hard, bro. Remember, I'm an idiot on the computer. Remember, Wealth Charts computer, Wealth Charts PC, Javi idiot. Right? Wealth Charts phone, Javi genius. Gotta remember that. So if you're like telling me something up here, I'm like, where? I'm like, where is it? Wealth Chart customer service, like quick. They did, yeah. They're very quick. Show him the top where none at after the cell at top. I'm like, look, I'm trying to look for what he's saying. I'm like, ah. All right, awesome. So hopefully you get that cleared up. Why you don't see a trail, but it should. I've never had on any one of my accounts not been able to trail at any point, and I've been trading like every single account that Wealth Charts offers. So that's weird, CC, that you've had that issue. That little cog thing right here. Nothing's happening other than when I collapse it. Other than this, okay, let's see. And then he goes to simple. Simple. Is it here? No. Buy, sell strategy, simple. Oh, up here. Okay, up here. See, I'm an idiot. I have to like look at, I'm like, It's right here. It's at the top. Strategy and then simple. But you have to set it still, right? You still have to set it. Thank you, Just Change. Appreciate that, brother. But you still probably have to set it, yeah. That might be easier. Might be, yeah. Awesome. Appreciate that. Tell you. You guys get to see old man Avi on the computer. Like, I have to put my glasses on. I'm like, where's this thing? Oh, man. Yeah, I manually trail everything. All right, sweet. All right, y'all. Wow, an hour 40, just about. Anybody have any other questions quantum related before we call it a night? And I really hope I cleared a few things for you guys, right? I know it's a learning curve. Quantum is a whole strategy, right? Again, like playing the signals, you have to have confluences. Remember that, right? The easiest thing to learn first is the quantum candle breaks, the range breaks, right? The entry criteria is always the same, the break and retest. You still have to be cautious of the trend. Ooh, did we break that level? We're retesting the whole candle right now. That level broke this big boy. Okay, so this is a big, and again, right, 15-minute levels. We have that 15-minute level below. Right, we still have this quantum blue over here, but this is the breaking candle. This big, humongous 5-minute candle is the breaking candle. So when I see a level break, right, I immediately go to my 1 and my 2, and I want to see where the swing points are going to be, and that's what these levels are going to help me guide, right? If it breaks through these levels, then the purple candle's in contention. But right now we got 2 levels at 814, 811, and 843. We're obviously flipping to a potential downtrend now, but there's going to be a swing point at some point, so that's where you got to be careful. Our market does the same thing, right? Trend, range, trend. Trend is your friend. I say that all the time, even to my students. But that's how I use quantum, right? Guides to potential rejection points. If I want to see the trend continue, we want to see blues continue to break, we want to see purples continue to hold. Look at that teleport. Look at that blue teleport up. It's really trying to test the lower high already. When will this video be uploaded to YouTube? I missed the first half. Most likely tomorrow, at some point tomorrow. But we will ping everybody in the quantum chat. We will ping everybody. Because I had a lot of Wealth Charts people come in this week, I might try to sneak in one more morning. I might sneak in a morning session this week. Not sure when. I got doctor's appointment Tuesday. I have pre-market with my students, so it's gonna be tough to sneak it in. So I kind of want to say I want to do one on Friday. Tomorrow is a big question mark. If I can do one tomorrow, I will announce it. I might be able to do one tomorrow or Friday. Okay, but I know Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday's a no-no. I got two days with my students, and then on Tuesday I have it will be 8 o'clock, like 7:45ish, 8 o'clock. Last question to be sure. You wait for a break of the purple. Did you have to spell wait that way? Easy Trades. No kidding. I'm just joking fun. Yeah, I think you meant to spell it W-A-I-T. I know I'm fat. For a break of the purple or the blue. Okay, sorry, I gotta read the question over. Be sure to wait for a break of the purple or blue for the retest. Yes. So I wait for it to retest, and if it retests, sometimes it'll retest a couple times, right? If it keeps giving me the rejection, I keep playing it. Like, I'll play it, but same stop losses. Once it takes you out, it takes you out. I take that as a strike, right? You guys know my rules. 3 strikes, I'm out. Look at the short going. It's still going. Look at that downtrend still going. Right? Look at that. You can see the strength of the trends based on the candles breaking. Right? The blue started to break up here. Blue started to break up here. Little fight happening. And then continue. 2 minute continuing the trend. Blue started to break way up here. Then down here. And now we're trying to fight this little area right here. Right? 5 minute blue as well. You're gagging. I cooked that. I noticed it went too late. Oh no! It's okay, brother. It's okay, easy. It's okay. No, I laughed, dude. It's funny. I just noticed it. I was like, come on. It's all good though. It's all good, man. It's all love. It's all love. I know. Very nice, Mimi. All right. Awesome. Looks like I answered most of y'all's questions, I hope. Again, right, it gives you areas of reaction, support, resistance, hidden support and resistance you didn't know were there, right? You can see where the things get trapped, or they react when they break one area, where they can go test. It's just, again, look, it hits these levels and it bounces, right? Today, a lot of level respect, right? When you have these attached with the quantum candles, extra strength usually, right? But it's very clear guidance for me to always see. We've been trying. It's just quantum is a very heavy indicator because of the amount of data in there for the quantum candles and the action lines. Those two things alone have a lot of data. And I am, we both, and like are trying to figure out how we can have these lines populate and delete is just a lot of data, like a lot of data. So it's easier for now to, especially at the higher time frame, right? It's easy to mark it on the higher time frames. They're far less, so it's easy to mark these blues and purples on the higher time frame, right? You're going to have far less. These are the stronger levels, obviously, right? They're going to be the strongest levels. Look at this one right here, right? 9:30 opening on the 16th. Look where we rejected on Friday the 17th, right? Right there, right? Right there, right? Just happened to also have a 5 minute level, right? This is something I see a lot. So the higher time frames give you much stronger areas of potential reaction. Just requires patience. But that's how I use it. It's just amazing. All right. Okay. Nice. Thanks for all the help. Next, I got to learn levels, what they mean, and how to play them. Yep. Levels, support, resistance, right? Support, resistance. Levels up top, resistance. Levels below, support. Blue candles, bullish candles. Purple candles, bearish candles. Stronger than your regular candles. They require criteria to turn that color. Not something simple. It is a sequence of events that have to occur and have to lock in. If one's about to turn and the sequence doesn't form or close, it will not stay that color. Right? If you see it turning blue and then it turns regular, it's the sequence wasn't completed. And you'll see that real time, especially on Wealth Church. You'll see that in real time. But everything with quantum is basic support and resistance. The only entry criteria that is different is those A++ setups with added confluence. With added confluence, that's where you get these signals that play out very, very well. Awesome. So I appreciate every single one of you hanging out with me tonight. Remember, we do this every single Sunday night. Every single Sunday night, we do this. I will see you guys. I will try to ping everyone when I can do it. If I can do it tomorrow, I will let you all know. but it will either have to be tomorrow or Friday. I will try to see if I can sneak it in tomorrow. I know I'm trying to go to the DMV tomorrow. My wife might be mad at me, but if I can do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, and I'll try to get in around 8 o'clock. Okay? So either tomorrow or Friday, one of these 2 days. And other than that, y'all, thank you for joining me again. YouTube stuff, I have to do the YouTube outro. It's always funny to me to have to do these now. All right, please like, subscribe, hit that bell, hit the like button if you guys want to check out more of my content. I have plenty of quantum videos here for you guys to look at. And I'll see you again next week on Sunday night. So, not financial advice for JJ's as usual, but peace out. All right, cool. Awesome, y'all. Appreciate you again. Have to do that outro. It's still very weird for me to do those outros. I'm still not used to the social media stuff. I've been doing this a while. I'm still not used to it. But yeah, everyone have a great night. Trade safe. Volatility is high. So trade extra safe, right? Lower those contract sizes. There have been some really nice plays still tonight. There have been some pretty decent plays. All right, downtrend is going. We just flipped from green to red, but we're still respecting levels. We're still respecting areas. So you're seeing these bounce occur, right? You're seeing where the market structure is kind of flowing. We'll always play cautiously because the volatility for Asia is bigger than normal. So control sizing and trade safe, and then I'll see you guys. I'll probably see you tomorrow morning, most likely, but I'll see you guys on the next one. Love ya. Peace out.